Hey, it's Mike Herman. It's Wednesday, and I have one quick question for you, although complex. The question is that going to stop you? See, the question of is that going to stop you resonates so powerfully in my mind because I'm always asking myself, is that going to stop you? Are you going to let that stop you? And time again in my life, I constantly find myself saying no. I constantly find myself pushing through and taking on the challenge and saying, hell no, that's not going to stop me. And as I look back in my life over the course of 46 years, actually this weekend it'll be 47 years, I say to myself, wow, I've never really let anything stop me. And I will tell you that I've had a lot of opportunities to say, yes, that's going to stop me, to acquiesce and give in to the pressures or the setbacks or the obstacles. I've had the excuses that most people would say, you know, he really has a tough time. He really has tough cards dealt to him. It's okay if he quits or if he doesn't perform well, if he doesn't stand up to the challenge. When I was 5 years old, I fell 12 feet through a platform and landed on the concrete slab, suffering a traumatic brain injury. I was in a coma for 4 weeks. I had four brain incisions called craniotomies. I was paralyzed, blind, and aphasic. I couldn't move, I couldn't see, and I couldn't speak. And as an adolescent, I had to relearn how to, as a child, I had to relearn how to walk, talk, and see. But as an adolescent, I had to relearn how to read, how to learn, how to compete, how to function. And as an adult, I've had to learn how to compete and how to evolve and adapt to ever-changing neurological and visual perceptual deficits. So I have had a life where I could have said, hell yes, I'm going to let that stop me. But I've never done that. I've said in every single case in life, hell no, that won't stop me. But I come across people every day, all the time, that say, whose life clarion messages, yes, that's too hard, or that's too overpowering, that's too emotional, I can't handle that, I can't do that, that's too impossible for me to achieve. And this is what I know. There's nothing greater than you. There's nothing more powerful than you. There's nothing that life has taken on or come into your life that you cannot handle, conquer, and champion. Nothing. I know a guy named Michael Brown. Michael Brown was ranked number 2 in the world for stunt motorcycle jumping and motocross, whatever, motorcycle stunt riding. Ranked number 2 in the world. He was one of the world's best motorcycle riders, motorcycle riders, stunt riders. And one day he was rehearsing a jump. And after they rehearsed the jump, somebody accidentally, moved the receiving ramp from his jump a quarter of an inch. That much, not that much. And Michael went down under the bike. It dragged him for over 400 feet. One arm, one leg was amputated. He had traumatic brain injury. He also was in a coma, but I think for 6 months, 5 or 6 months, and is brain damaged, severely brain damaged. But you know what? Michael Brown does not let that stop him. He doesn't allow, is that going to stop me, even enter his thought process. He doesn't let the world, the pressures of the world, get in his way from his challenge to take on everything that's come into his life. He takes it on and he succeeds and he survives and he persists until he wins. I've watched Michael recover from a broken, disabled, brain-injured, paralyzed individual to a almost fully functioning adult. He is an amazing inspiration to me. What is it that stops you? If Michael Brown can get up from a motorcycle accident that nearly killed him and put him in a coma for 5 or 6 months, took one of his arms and one of his legs, and took the sight in one eye, and yet he comes back to ride motorcycles again, what is it that you can't do? What is it that gets in your way that is so massive that you can't conquer it? You see, it's not the physical obstacles that get in our way. It's not the walls or the doors that we physically walk into that stop us from proceeding. It's not. It's the soft cell stuff. It's the stuff inside here, inside the consciousness that says, I can do it, I will do it, I have done it. Or I can't do this, it's too hard, and I quit. That's what I want to get through to you today, is that anything that you come up against, anything that you say can't be done, actually can be done. Look at Ted Turner. In the 1970s, Ted Turner launched a company and built the world's greatest broadcasting and news gathering organization called CNN. No one had ever done it before. There was no infrastructure, there was no path, there was nothing for him to follow, there was no way for him to know what to do. But you know what? Ted Turner broke and broken and discouraged, got up every day and got his plan implemented, and now CNN is part of Time Warner, one of the largest media conglomerates in the entire world. And Ted Turner is ranked as one of the richest, most powerful, influential men ever. His net worth was once estimated at $13 billion. $13 billion. You know what he did with a lot of that? He gave billions to the UN. Just gave it away. Didn't even want it. Gave it away to humanity. What is it that you can't do? What is it that is so great, so horrible, so devastating, so so death-defying that you can't overcome today? Right now, this minute. What is it that's in your way that is so gigantic? A few months ago, I did a blog where I talked about the principle of this. Can you see that? The principle of this versus the principle of this. So usually people focus on this. Can you see that? Here. Focus on this tiny little detail. On this whole board of white, there's this one, I'm going to make it smaller. There's this one tiny dot of black on this entire white board, and that's what people focus on. And this little tiny speck in life, this detail, becomes gigantic and myopic and blinding. It becomes a blind spot. Where in fact, our entire lives are constantly, no matter what's happening in our lives, illness, setback, tragedy, financial ruin, it doesn't matter. Our lives are these white, empty, blank spaces that we have the ability to put whatever we want on them. And yet, we focus on these little tiny dots, on these little tiny insignificant freckles that stop us. So what I want to tell you today is, don't let anything stop you. Don't let your mindset, don't let your emotions, don't let your actions, don't let your failures or your falters, don't let your conversations inside of your head or the conversations that you're hearing from outside stop you. Don't let news or media or the daunting size of your challenge stop you. Because whatever it is, whatever you take on, whatever gets put in front of you, you can achieve. You can do it, you can have it, you can see, you can be it. How you do anything is how you do everything. Do things big and huge and audacious and challenging, and you will have results big, audacious, huge, and amazing. That's it. I'm Mike Herman. Don't be blinded. Don't be paralyzed. Don't be myopic. Be bold. Be challenged. Be amazing. Be great. Talk to you soon.